I want to talk about today on this video malinvestments and their consequences. I hope you'll learn what it means. You've seen this on my blog posts, and I will use an extreme example to show the consequences, but maybe it's not so extreme because I'm using the production of military equipment that can be destroyed, of course, in war. The government is going to make subsidies to the military and military machine, and they will have produced 3 of the most sophisticated submarines ever known in history. And Japan will do the same thing. I use Japan because they're an ally. The cost will be multi-millions of dollars. This will cause lots of employment in order to make this never before seen these 3 submarines, and the same for Japan. The government talks about how much employment has increased. So let's talk about what really is happening here. First of all, where did the government get the so-called money to make these subsidies? From the Federal Reserve. Where did the Federal Reserve get the currency to loan to the U.S. Treasury, let the government? By entering fingers on keyboards and causes so-called money to be deposited in the bank account or accounts for the U.S. Treasury. So that is used to subsidize companies and employment, as they call it, to build these submarines. Now, you can expect the wages to be pretty high because they're getting so-called free money. Not free, as you'll see. Free money to build these submarines. So what does that do? Just a few things, and I'm not going through except just a few things to the economy and the market. It pulls employment away from other companies that might be producing for the consumers to go to work for making this submarine, because they can make higher wages, may have less hours in working, but that's not important. So it's pulling away some employment away from companies that otherwise might be producing for the consumers. Now, that's just one disruption. There are others in the market. Now, let me make the extreme example to show what a malinvestment is. So they take these 3 submarines for the U.S., put them out in the ocean, and they take the 3 submarines for Japan and line them up in the ocean. They're very sophisticated submarines, very costly. So they get all the people, soldiers or whatever, off the submarines, and then they blow them up and they go down to the bottom of the sea. What wealth was produced? Nothing. This was a malinvestment, an investment that's pulling away from productive companies, productive employees, in order to support the military-industrial complex that increases employment within itself, and their companies, but it's disrupting the other market. So I used an extreme example where they blew them up, but let's say they don't go, if they go to war, they don't get blown up. It's still a malinvestment because it's not helping the consumer and it's disrupting the market. So this is, some people will say we have to have military equipment. I'm not getting into that issue. What I'm getting into is trying to show what a malinvestment is. And this creation of money in order, it's really credit. You got a loan from the Federal Reserve, you got borrowing from the U.S. Treasury, and using this as money. So you're creating money out of thin air, or currency, a better statement. And this will cause inflationary price rises. The inflation is the creation of the credit or currency by the Federal Reserve to loan to the U.S. government. So I use this to show what a malinvestment is and the consequences to the market.